So good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another of our interviews with executives from the open 5G industry. Today, we are talking to Cristina Rodriguez, and I'm going to look down and get your title right, Cristina, VP and GM of Wireless Access Network Division for Intel. This is very unusual. Cristina and I have just realized we are literally sitting probably a mile and a half, 2 miles apart here in Austin, west of Austin. So it's never happened before like that. Cristina, first question is the easy one is from your perspective, from the Intel perspective, what is a virtualized RAN? What is an open RAN? How do you differentiate between the two?
Good question to start, and thank you for having me. And virtualized RAN. So virtualized RAN is basically taking technologies, server technologies, and using them to run RAN functions. In other words, what we're talking about here is taking functions that would have normally be run on hardware purpose built, running them on software. So running using a network function virtualization, software-defined networks to run the radio access network functionalities. And by doing that, bringing additional flexibility and agility. Open RAN, which is not the same, Open RAN is an industry initiative coming from the Telecom Infrastructure Project and the O-RAN Alliance. And basically it's an initiative that is proposing disaggregation of the hardware and the software in the RAN equipment. Is basically setting a standard interfaces between the baseline and the radio units, and by doing that, again bringing disaggregation, running the workload on general purpose compute, and just in general having a standard interfaces. All of this is coming from looking at the network and finding ways to address in better ways, in cost-effective ways, the new use cases that 5G and the edge are bringing to the world.
Okay, so if we characterize that then, so I could have a RAN with closed interfaces, but I'm still virtualizing it.
Mm-hmm.
I could have an open RAN, but on dedicated hardware software, I guess, but realistically, that's not going to happen, right? So virtualization, just because I've virtualized it doesn't mean it's an open interface.
You got it, exactly.
Yep, okay. All right, so we've been talking about virtualization for a long time in wireless, and we've done this. The parts of the packet core, the EPC, parts of that have been virtualized for some time now. Why is it taking so much longer to do the RAN? What makes it so much more difficult?
Well, it's a journey, right? It's a new innovation. It's a transformation in the industry. And as you said, we started this journey, this network transformation 10 years ago, starting at the core, again, bringing those functions that were running in purpose-built hardware, moving them to run in software. And it's been a journey, a lot of learning in the process, and we're happy to see this year precisely that we are going to see more than 50% of the core network being now virtualized. So it has taken time to get to where we are. What we're seeing now is the operator saying, well, can we use the same benefit? Can we extend? Can we apply the same benefits that we saw in the core by bringing virtualization? Can we apply it to the edge and to the RAN? And it's especially important with the coming together of 5G and edge and artificial intelligence, because now there are new requirements of latency that has to be satisfied in the network, and that is important to bring that architecture. Number one, bring that compute capability closer to the user, closer to where the data is generated, and by having an architecture that is common between the core, the edge, and the access, it just bring additional, again, flexibility, agility, and benefits from the total cost of ownership.
Right. So do you think it's that everything's kind of come together at the right time here? Are we've got virtualization, you mentioned AI, we were moving to edge compute, we're moving to 5G. Is it that we're just, everything's,
yes,
the timing's perfect, right?
That's exactly what is happening. It's this confluence of events with 5G, the build out of the edge, the new use cases, the AI, all coming together at a moment where the technology is ready, right? Because what we're talking about here is to use server technologies and server architectures applied to the network. And it's important that this architecture is capable to provide the performance that we are used to in a purpose-built network. And we have the technology. We're seeing it now in our own devices. We have the technology ready to be able to satisfy those requirements.
Right. So I know you talk to a lot of operators, right, around the world. So when you're talking about the benefits of vRAN, virtualized RAN, Open RAN, do you differentiate between the two sets of advantages? Do you group it together? And what advantages do you draw their attention to? What do they want to talk about?
We sometimes talk about both things together, but sometimes it's separate, and they should be separate. I think from the point of view of there are multiple things, right? From the point of view of the virtualization, is again back to, well, if you have a common platform between the core and the edge and the access, now number one, you can leverage the economy of scale and the server economics. So that's important. But you also have a common platform to release software, to have upgrades, to have new services, to take advantage of take a total cost of ownership benefits. So all that comes into play. There are more options. There are open interfaces, and open software means more developers in the world developing for the application. It also allows the operators to focus on what they can differentiate, right? To focus on the application and the service differentiation, and just unleashing innovation in general with the entire ecosystem behind it.
Right. So obviously things take a while, right? So what sort of challenges do you see for moving to vRAN and ORAN?
Yeah, there are challenges, right? Again, it's a new area, is a transformation. So of course there are challenges. Fortunately, again, we have at a point, this is the moment where all is coming together and the technology is there. But I would say, number one, we are used to very good performance per watt per price, right? In the existing networks, in the existing architecture. So the new architecture, the virtualized architecture, has to be able to provide the same level of performance per watt, per dollars, of course. And I believe we're there, right? We're seeing some of the feedback from the operators that are deploying in the world. We're seeing in our own devices what we can achieve as far as performance per watt, and you can tell that we are at a point where the technology is mature. The other challenge is deterministic real time, right? When we talk about use cases such as ultra reliable, low latency kind of use cases, where we're talking about sub-milliseconds travel of the data back and forth for those mission critical use cases and use cases that are very sensitive to latency, the network has to support that. And again, we see the maturity on the technology there now. The other thing that is important, another challenge on this, is the orchestration and management of that software that is running in that network. Many companies that are having very good results there, and that is showing that this is ready. And then finally, I would say, when you have the model, the traditional model is one vendor has everything, right? It provides everything. Now you have multiple vendors providing a solution, and especially in the case of the Open RAN, and all that has to come together. There is a collaboration, there is a role, there is an integration, system integration role there that is important, and that all has to come together. That's why it's so important to have a very strong, mature ecosystem. And this is one thing that Intel has been doing for many, many years, is that a strong collaboration with the ecosystem, enabling and promoting a vibrant, a rich ecosystem that can accelerate the pace of innovation.
Right, right. So which brings us to the next question here is, what are you guys doing? What is Intel doing to address the challenges and also the opportunity here to bring all this together?
No, of course. And we're super excited with the moment. We are super excited, and I'm very happy with the results that we are seeing. I would say three things. If you tell me, what are you doing? I would say three things. And this is coming from the last 10 years, everything that we have learned and optimized in those 3 years. Number one, so three things. Number one is our rich end-to-end IP portfolio for networking. I'm talking about our Intel Xeon CPU products, our SoCs, FPGAs, structured ASICs and custom, Ethernet products, memories, so all the entire end-to-end, and then on top of that, all the software that we invest on and that we innovate with. And for example, just to say one example, we have a software called FlexRAN. It's really part of the FlexRAN architecture, Intel FlexRAN architecture. But the Intel FlexRAN reference software is basically the complete implementation of layer 1, wireless stack layer 1, which is the most compute intense layer in the protocol stack, all running on our Intel Xeon servers and optimized for that. And we have right now more than 100 licenses in the world, and some of the trials and even the commercial releases that have happened are using as a reference this software. So anyway, that's number two, our products, right? That's number one. I'm sorry, our products. So number two is what I mentioned before, is the close relation that we have with the ecosystem. You need, for this kind of work, this is an industry effort, this is an industry collaboration, and we need a very strong ecosystem out there in the world with multiple partners, with multiple parties, delivering each piece and innovating and optimizing the solution. And again, we're very happy to have that strong relation and multiple programs with ecosystems such as our Intel Network Builders. Number three, I would say, is our trusted advisor kind of position, right? We have all these learnings that we have come to through the last 10 years. We are here for our customers. We have worked with the operators, making giving them our advice and just being there for them every step of the way in the network architecture choices. By the way, that's either traditional way, purpose-built hardware that will be there for years to come, and the virtualized architecture that is taking such a great momentum and importance right now.
Right, good. All right, so last couple of questions here. 2021 is nearly upon us. I think a lot of people will be happy to say that. If you look at where we are today and where we'll be at the end of next year, 2021, what do you think we'll be talking about? What progress will we have made on vRAN, O-RAN?
I think we'll see very interesting momentum again, and the continuity of that momentum that exists today. If you look at what we're seeing today as announcements and right there in the press, the entire industry is talking about virtualized RAN. So I think we will see very interesting things happening, and we will see operators continue to be interested in what can be done and how they can take the benefits of virtualization and the cloudification of the network. It's going to be a very exciting and interesting time for us. If you see, just from what has already happening, and I wanted to mention that if you look at what we have seen even in 2020, right, we have seen Rakuten, the Japanese operator, launching their 5G cloud native network, end-to-end cloud native, very exciting. We have seen Verizon announcing their fully virtualized end-to-end 5G data session, and both of them, Rakuten and Verizon, using our Intel technology as part of their network. And then also most recently, we saw Dish and Intel announcing their partnership also to build their Open RAN 5G network. So we're already seeing it in 2020, and we'll just see a lot more in 2021.
Right. All right, so last question, put you on the spot a little bit here. When do you think it's going to be, how long it'll be before when a tier one operator, when they're doing an upgrade, they're doing maintenance on a website, on a cell site or anything like this, they automatically turn to O-RAN or vRAN? It becomes the normal choice versus the new choice, let's say.
Yeah, it's not a switch, right? We're not going to do a switch. We switch and everything now is virtualized. It's not going to be like that. Look what we saw at the core, right? It took 10 years to get here, and this year is going to be, as I said, 50% crossover. But I think it's because we have learned as an industry so much. I think it's going to be faster than maybe some would think, but it's going to take time. It's going to take time, and for a while we'll have the two type of deployments, and the operators will decide which architecture is better for the specific location, what are the pace that they want to move on that, and that's completely up to them, and we're here for them to support them. It won't be a switch. It will be a process, and there will be success in the process of doing that.
Yeah. All right. Good. Okay. So for those of you watching, we've been chatting with Cristina Rodriguez, who is VP and GM of Wireless Access Network Division for Intel. Cristina, thanks very much.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you for having me.